Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kimara Jane, and I am here with my colleagues Alicia Woods, Ariel Johnson, and Darren Carey to present on the topic of invasive and protected species in the Bahamas. For this presentation, we chose to speak on the Bahamian pine forest. The Bahamian pine forest is also known as a pine yard, found in tropical and subtropical ecoregions located in the Bahamas. They are only found on four Bahamian islands: Grand Bahama, Abaco, Andros, and New Providence. New Providence has the smallest forest when being compared to Abaco and Andros. For our presentation, we chose to talk about the Christmas holly, the, bah- the Bahamian pine, and corn snakes. For our background, all of these organisms can be found in the pine forest. We chose two invasive species and one protective and native species. And since we chose to use corn snake as our invasive species. Corn snake also use Bayesian mimicry to avoid predators since they look more like a scarlet snake, and the scarlet snake is a poisonous type of snake.
Hey everyone, my name is Ariel Johnson, and next we're going to be talking about the invasive species Christmas holly. This tall, beautiful, but sneaky plant hails all the way from South America and has found its way into subtropical climates like the Bahamas. Picture this: the Christmas holly grows up to 45 feet tall and produces striking red berry clusters. Sounds festive, right? Well, not really. Here's the catch: these bright red berries are very deadly for us human beings, but the birds can't get enough of them. Birds munch on the berries, fly around, and help spread the seeds far and wide. Add a little help from the wind, and boom, more Christmas holly popping up everywhere, and I mean everywhere. What makes this plant such a problem and an invasive species? Well, it's a rapid grower, hogging up all the sunlight, water, and nutrients and leaving all the other native plants in the dust. It's a classic case of interspecific competition, if you know what I mean, where it fights other species for resources. This plant also has many other impacts, such as cultural impacts, where the plant was brought into the Bahamas for ornamental design. It also has a historical impact where the plant was said to represent many pagan and religious traditions, hence the name Christmas, and it is also used to make furniture. The economic impact of this plant is that its landscape provides food and shelter for animals. Here's the scary part. Those shallow roots Christmas holly has, they aren't just a problem for other plants. They weaken the soil, causing erosion and increasing the risk of flooding. And in Nassau, with a little rain, there's flooding everywhere. So this invasive plant isn't just messing with our biodiversity, it's also threatening homes for both people and animals. So overall, we need to manage this invasive species before it overwhelms our environment and puts our unique Bahamian biodiversity at risk.
Good day, my name is Darren Carey, and I'll be introducing our second species found in the Bahamian pine forest, the Caribbean pine. The Caribbean pine is also commonly known as the Bahamian pine and yellow pine. Its scientific name is Pinus caribea bahamianus variation. The Caribbean pine is endemic to the northern Lucayan archipelago and is commonly found in pine woodlands, tropical wet and dry forests. The Caribbean pine grows up to 30 meters tall and can range from 25 to 75 centimeters in diameter. Its leaves are needle-like, extending to 25 centimeters, and are commonly grouped in clusters of 2 to 3. The Caribbean pine is a native and protected species in the Bahamas because it provides shelter to endemic forest species such as the Bahama yellowthroat, the Bahamian raccoon, and funnel-eared bat. The Caribbean pine also helps with erosion control and is listed as a vulnerable species by the International Union for Conservation of Nature due to climate change and habitat loss. Historically, the pine trees were originally introduced in commercial forestry plantations in 1973 and were once extensively logged throughout for cupboard pulp. Environmental impacts of the Caribbean pine are sustaining underground freshwater reserves and protection against soil erosion. Culturally, the Caribbean pine provides shade and is used as ornamental. Preservation efforts for the Caribbean pine are being placed in national parks such as Lukai National Park in Grand Bahama and Abaco, and National Park on Great Abaco. Protection under the 2021 Declaration of Protected Trees and removal of invasive species to reduce their impact. These are pictures. These are pictures of the Caribbean vine.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Woods, and I will present some facts about the corn snake. The scientific name of this organism is Pantheropus guttatus, more commonly known as the red corn snake. It originates from the southern United States and Mexico, and it prefers to inhabit pinelands, coppice forests, commercial ports, construction sites, and agricultural areas. They were introduced to the Bahamas via the import of landscaping plants and building materials. Also, they were introduced through pet owners who would trade them. These snakes are small to medium sized, slender, and up to 70 inches or 180 centimeters long. The most common coloration found in the Bahamas is beige with large red blotches and black edges down the middle of its back. It has a black and white checkerboard pattern on its underside and a spear-shaped pattern on the head and neck. This snake is non-venomous and it is not directly harmful to humans. It kills its prey by constriction, and it is a generalist predator, so these prey usually include rodents, lizards, frogs, birds, and their eggs. This species is invasive to the Bahamas. Not only does it feed on anything it can find, but also threatens to outcompete our native snakes, such as the brown racer. It is also a carrier for Crystoporidium, a protozoan parasite that causes diarrhea in humans and animals. So these are just some of the impacts and management efforts that can be made for the snake. Historical impacts. It was once commonly used in exotic pet trading, and many of those pet owners were careless and allowed them to escape in the environment. Economic. Organizations exert a lot of funds and resources trying to eliminate this species. The corn snakes disturb the natural biodiversity of the ecosystem. So management efforts. The preferred response by the Bahamas Invasive Species Strategy, according to Principle 13, is to eradicate these organisms as soon as possible. Where eradication may not be completely possible, regular monitoring to avoid outbreaks and integrating management techniques are important for containment and control of the organism. So efforts that anyone can take to get rid of this snake include keeping your homes free of garbage and sealing any open areas. So this is what the corn snake look like. You can see the underbelly checkerboard pattern, the beige and red coloration, and the spear pattern on the head. Okay, how does each species tie into the pine forest ecosystem? The entire pine forest relies on the Bahama pine and could not live without it. It provides a habitat for many organisms. It maintains soil stability. The presence of these trees indicate good fresh water quality also. And the pine forest is regenerated when these trees set themselves on fire. So the other two species we talked about affect the forest negatively. The Brazilian pepper is damaging to the health of this ecosystem. It competes with native plants and it reduces the ecosystem's support for native animals. The corn snake upsets the balance of the entire food web. It has no natural predators in the Bahamas and it eats the same prey as the native predator species. And here are some more photos to help identify these different species.
To conclude our presentation, I would like to speak about a few things on the Bahamian pine forest. The Bahamian pine forest is very diverse. It holds a number of different species, just like the species that I just spoke about, and a lot more. Trees like the Caribbean pine trees are very competitive, meaning that they fight for their resources. These trees light fires. Well, the black resin they release causes fires, and the only plants that usually survive the fires are the adult pine trees. The younger ones usually die because of these fires, and the adults live. Because of this, the pine yard has gotten the name of a fire climax community. And if this was impossible, other trees like the casuarina trees and other invasive species would dominate and take over the pine yards. These two slides, show our references. Thank you for watching our presentation.